Oi, it's March here. I've got a lot of thoughts, so I'm gonna make them your problem. Today we're gonna discuss Joyce and David Price from Don't Nod's Life is Strange. Joyce and David are the parents to Chloe Price, but it depends on which side of the fandom you are on whether or not you accept David as her stepfather or as her mortal enemy. You see, when Chloe was 14 years old, she lost her birth father William in a tragic car accident, and immediately during the funeral, her best friend Max had to leave to go to Seattle, leaving Chloe completely alone. Taking a look at the wiki, it states that Joyce and David met on November 27th of 2008, and then 2 years later is when Before the Storm takes place. The wiki does allege that shortly after, in 2008, Joyce and David get married, and then by 2010 they are already a couple. But that is simply false. In all of Before the Storm, David is nothing more than a boyfriend. In fact, Chloe says it quite often because she does not want to call him anything other than that, because that is all he is. And in the game itself, we can literally see David proposing to Joyce. So it wasn't shortly after 2008. It was 2 whole years later when they got married. Now you're probably wondering why I'm focusing so heavily on the timeline. What does it matter if they didn't get married immediately in 2008, Merge? What does it matter if they got married in 2010? The reason why I need to get it right is because a lot of Chloe stans, and more of the die-hard Chloe stans, the people who believe she can do nothing wrong, like to say that Joyce moved on far too quickly. Now I do mention this on my reaction to the comments on my Chloe Price video where I talk about how it is wrong to compare pain, and I still agree with that. But Chloe stans love to drag Joyce's pain through the dirt and in the mud and right into a trash can in order to blissfully ignore anyone else's pain and solely focus on not only what seems to be Chloe's pain, but what seems to be just a projection of their own pain. To be honest, this entire video could probably just be summarized by me taking points from the reaction videos and along with my gameplay of True Colors, where I compare Joyce to Charlotte and her pain and what she's going through with Gabe. Your merch here, just wanted to add in really quickly because this is supposed to be the transition into the chapter where I then talk about Joyce. I can't come up with a proper transition, so this is gonna be a
being so self-sufficient, but the whole world's not out to get you.
Joyce, after William's death, is seen rightfully upset, but one day while working, she meets a military man named David. He isn't perfect, he also has issues, but he seems to be a sense of stability in a moment of her life where everything just seems to be falling apart and nothing seems right anymore. It was always hard working at the diner, but now it's just a constant reminder of what happened that day. Every day you get up, the other side of the bed is empty and cold. Chloe has completely shut you out, so breakfast isn't the same. Worst of all, every day she has to go back to that place. A place where normally she wished she could escape in general. She doesn't want to necessarily work there. But now, that phone call just replays in your head. How your feet were so tired from walking in heels all day, so you just wanted a ride home. You did end up getting that ride home, but it was with the officers as they arrived at your work. You know them all too well. They go there for donuts and for coffee as they take their lunch breaks. But they weren't called to break up any fights. You know nothing was going on, and you were very confused why they were there. One officer looks at you, and your stomach sort of sinks. What happened? Was it Chloe? Was it William? Who needed the police to be called? Not wanting to say anything in front of you, the officers likely pulled you outside and then told you what happened. Your world just shattered. A piece of your world was just taken from you. They let you ride in the back and tell you what happened as they drive you home. And it hits you. You have to tell Chloe. But you know she's going to break. She's going to fall apart. She just always loved William just a little bit more. But for once, with David, in the moments that you talk and chat with each other, you have that sense of stability again. It's the fact that he's open with his emotions and isn't a big macho man, as he's willing to admit that he has PTSD, that he's also suffered from a death and has to learn how to not only cope but to heal from it, so he knows exactly what you're going through. And most importantly, he listens to you. You feel so comfortable in his presence and essentially with his vibes that you feel that you can actually be open with this man in front of you. You don't have to close yourself off to the world like Chloe is doing, and what Joyce most likely previously did as well. David listens to Joyce's problems that she's having with Chloe and gives solid advice, gives her tips, and mentions how Chloe should try to do better, not just for Joyce, but for herself, because Chloe deserves better. And so does Joyce. And that is what I feel like what got Joyce. He also cares about Chloe. He's not one of those men that goes for the mom and forces the mom to make the choice of it's either me or your own children. He's not forcing her to do that. He cares about both of them equally. And he sees that Chloe is putting so much strain on Joyce, but she loves her so much. And so he sees and understands that Chloe is also suffering from this, and that's not being addressed, but her attitude needs to be fixed. So he's hoping that his more stern methods can help put Chloe into a better mindset, into a better place. Maybe having a sense of stability and having someone who's a little more stern with her than Joyce could help Chloe. But there's still something I'm missing here. Something I'm not discussing. It was the fact that Joyce actually tried with Chloe against popular belief. Let me break it down for you.
You will be nice, you will be respectful, and you...
Chloe stands love to say that Joyce gave up on Chloe. She didn't try hard enough, she wasn't there for her, or she wasn't a loving mother, blah, blah, blah. When that could not be farther from the truth, to the point where I can't even say you're grabbing for straws. You're just grabbing at air at this rate. Joyce tried. She not only got, but had to pay for multiple therapists for Chloe to try to have her daughter heal and move on and to discuss what was going on with her. I don't know why that's often ignored, but she got multiple therapists, not just one. That doesn't sound like something a mother would do if she wasn't trying with her daughter, especially knowing that money was really tight. They just had to pay for a funeral and they have bills to pay, yet she still cared enough about Chloe to get multiple therapists to try to aid her. Joyce even had to take up the bills for Blackwell because no one else is going to. The scholarship was starting to run out. And Joyce even tells Chloe, the first time we interact with Joyce, she tells Chloe that someone has to pay the bills. She's going to keep doing it because Chloe once loved science. That's why and how she got the scholarship. Her daughter earned it. She worked for it. She wants her to have a good future and she sees potential in her daughter. Obviously, how else would she have gotten the scholarship if she didn't have potential? So Joyce keeps holding on and paying for Blackwell, even though she could have pulled out the second Chloe started giving her attitude and ignoring everything her mother asked her to do. On top of that, Joyce took it upon herself to confront Chloe anytime she was acting up. She didn't just push her daughter away. She wasn't just lenient with it. She wasn't just barely talking to her daughter. No, she would send her texts and try to work with her, being stern only when she thought she really needed to, in the hopes that it would get Chloe to behave better. She never ordered Chloe around. She was clearly only stern with her when she thought it was needed. And even David later tells Joyce that she's not being stern enough. She has tried so much with Chloe, but Chloe doesn't care about her mother and she doesn't listen. When David offers to try helping with Chloe, of course she's going to say yes. This man just gives you the vibes to where you can feel comfortable and relaxed with him. You feel happy once again with him. How could you say no to that? And he cares clearly so much for her and for Chloe and wanting all of them to hopefully be a good family together. Joyce lost William, and ever since then, Chloe has been acting out. Her whole world was turned upside down in that one moment, and Chloe is simply making it worse by trying and acting as if her mother is in the way and everything in the world is trying to turn against Chloe and seeming to turn against her own mother as well. I firmly believe that Joyce tried with Chloe, and I think it shines the best during the scene where Joyce and David have to pick up Chloe after she's been expelled. Instead of taking charge, David does. Then of course we have the scene where he forces Chloe to empty out her pockets, but the important part of that entire situation is that Joyce is just staring and shaking her head, unable to speak until she finally tells Chloe that she is so sorry, assuming you didn't have the weed in your pockets. And she tries to apologize, and David tells her to try to be more stern, and her upcoming speech, which I'll be displaying, really shows how much she keeps trying so hard. But poor Joyce is tired. She can't keep dancing around Chloe. She can't keep babying her and not properly reprimanding her when she does something that Chloe knows she's not supposed to be doing. She can't keep up this act that she is okay with what Chloe is doing anymore. So she clearly had a talk with David beforehand, asking him, could you please take control. You have said that you think she needs a little bit of discipline. Could you try to take control? Because I'm at my wits' end with this child right now. I don't know what else to do. Nothing I do works. She clearly doesn't care about a thing I have to say. Even if I try to tell her I'm not against her and I love her, she doesn't seem to care. Could you take control, David? She is literally visibly tired of Chloe's bullshit. In my opinion, that look isn't the look of a mother who has barely tried. That is the look of a mother who has done so much she can, not only financially, but mentally and emotionally, what she can do for her daughter. But she can't take her unruly and disrespectful behavior anymore. But personally, enough about Joyce, as I feel that I have made my peace with her and that I don't feel like she was a shitty mother as many Chloe stans believe. On to David, first from Before the Storm, and then on to Life is Strange.
You know, you could actually be good at this if you lost the attitude.
David suffers from PTSD from serving in the army and losing a soldier. He doesn't really want to lose anyone else, and that's something I've noticed in him. Often people who return from war, who return from serving, have a really hard time and a difficult time sort of returning to normalcy, to finding it hard to adjust to society versus how it was back when they were serving. Does he need to learn how to obviously approach this in a different manner and not trying to monitor everyone? Absolutely. The biggest issue some fans seem to have with David is that he seems to treat Chloe like a grunt in Before the Storm. The issue for David is that Chloe is still young and he sees a lot of himself in her, most likely. They even share a lot of interests and could probably be great friends if Chloe would just give him the chance. But regardless, he sees someone who is acting out, being irresponsible and overall negative influence to not only themselves but to others in their lives. He wants to help fix that by being sterner than Joyce has ever been, as Joyce, again, has only ever been a little bit stern with Chloe, and it's clearly not working. The first time we meet David, it's to get a ride to school, and he snaps his finger at Chloe and points to where he is standing, which tells Chloe that she needs to come here. That is very annoying. But would I say that's probably necessarily sexist? No. In the army and when you're serving, in fact, in most branches, they will be disrespectful to you no matter what gender you are. You are just a maggot, as I'm sure a lot of people love that term. You're just lesser than them. You need to be broken down and rebuilt. It doesn't matter if you're a boy. Sure as hell doesn't matter if you're a girl. You need to respect the people who are superior to you, and you need to understand the importance of what it means to be a team and a team player, and what it means to have these people and to serve and to protect them. So I feel like he would do it as well to a boy. I don't feel like that's a sexist behavior. But regardless, he then tries to open up to Chloe and explain what a spark plug is to her. Chloe says she knows what it is, but knowing Chloe, she often probably just says yes to things, so hopefully she won't have to hear an explanation. So adjusting to that, David explains it to her anyway. He is trying to bond with her. He's not trying to be rude to her. When Chloe interrupts him and explains what it does, he even compliments her, telling her that she would be great at these type of things if she just put more effort and focus into it. Maybe Chloe could have a future job as a mechanic if she just got her shit right. I mean, hell, she's able to fix up her shitty old little truck magically. And it's shown that through some cutscenes, she does do more internal work on the engine than just grab some shit around the junkyard section. She does seem to actually work on it further. So David actually sees potential in her being a mechanic, or probably in anything, as I'm sure he knows that she loves science. I'm sure Joyce has told him that. So with that statement, he's clearly trying to encourage her to go after it. He's saying, get your shit together and follow your dreams, whatever they were or what they are. In the car, he asks Chloe if they could start over, trying to be better for each other, not only for Joyce's sake, but for each other. He truly loves her and doesn't want things to always be like this. Does this man sound like the monster that Chloe stands to describe him as? The second time we interact with David, it seemed to be a bit harsher, and I will agree is a bit harsh, as he is seen outside with Joyce talking to her while they wait for Chloe to pick her up from school. She had been expelled, ruined her scholarship, and running her mother's pockets dry of money to be paid for school for no reason this entire time. Even though Joyce literally asked Chloe that if she didn't want to go anymore, then please just tell me because I can't keep paying for school if you're not gonna go. Money's tight as it is. is. Upset that not only Chloe is not listening to David, but has put so much stress on her mother, David demands that Chloe empties her pockets. Filled with rage that Chloe still isn't doing better for both her and her mother, has her empty out her pockets as he knows that she often gets in trouble and is carrying drugs. It's not unreasonable for him to be mad that someone isn't so heavily focused on possibly becoming a drug addict that they are not only destroying their own lives, but dragging others down with them, that other being her mother. But guess what? David actually feels like shit about that, and even apologizes when he realized he fucked up. He's made up his mind. He also needs to apologize and to do better, not only for Joyce, but for Chloe, so they can be a better family. In episode 3, there's an amazingly touching option if you weren't an asshole to David the entire game. But even then, I think if you choose to accept the photo, it's still a touching option. According to the wiki, if you didn't backtalk David in episode 1, he actually says that he's happy to see you and even apologizes for asking you to empty out your pockets at Blackwell, understanding that was not only embarrassing, but also overstepping a line. Yes, David actually talked to Joyce, or at least thought about it for a while they both waited for Chloe to come back home, even if it was a little tough for him to do, especially with how unruly Chloe is. And even if you chose the voice line option in order to lash out at David, saying, I forgive Joyce, but not David. What about all the times you've done this? You've hurt my feelings. And it's a great moment of Chloe finally opening up that she's not okay. David and Joyce admit that they came to an agreement that David won't bother Chloe about drugs and alcohol as long as she says she's not doing them. Meaning he won't throw such a fit about her doing such things so long she says she's not doing it. And Joyce admits that it's because she wants Chloe to learn how to be comfortable and respected in the household, to be taken at for her word. David wants her to trust him, and he wants to trust her. He is willing and accepting that she will probably lie to him. She will probably have done drugs and then lied to him saying that she didn't, because he wants her to learn after a certain point that it's okay to trust him. It's okay to open up to him about certain things. If you tell David you appreciate the effort that's being done, which I would, it's the most reasonable thing to do, he then hands you a photo of his friend who died. You can take the picture as a reminder that David has also dealt with a death that was personal to him. That death meant a lot to him, and it was hurting him, and he was suffering through that as well. So he knows exactly what Chloe is going through and is not only learning how to heal through it, but is currently strong enough to even talk about it with others. You can still accept the photo and still understand that he's not there to hurt you. He wants to help. He understands what you are going through. He understands exactly the conflicting emotions of having a death and how everything feels so confusing, and it's not okay. And he wants you to understand that he's not there to be against you. He wants to be a family with you. If Chloe accepts the photo, then when Joyce and David get married, she is seen hugging them. That is right, hugging them, seeming to be a happy family. Again, I ask, is this the monster that Chloe stands make him out to be? Now, let's get into a Life is Strange version of David, because Joyce is about the same type of person, the same passive mother, so I won't get into her, but David is completely different.
Oh, no fucking way. You need to hide now.
Now, this is a huge lore issue because one would assume that before the storm actually came out, before Life is Strange. And so one would assume that because of that, they would have a happy and healthy relationship and family situation, a family unit. But that is not the case because they fucked up by making Before the Storm after Life is Strange. So now we have to assume that because in Life is Strange, they are so fucked up as a family that someone, Chloe, might have ruined the relationship. In Life is Strange, Chloe and David have a very, very volatile relationship. The first time we're introduced to David with Chloe, he barges into her room with a very demanding and upset tone that she is blasting music and smoking weed. He can smell it throughout the house and she knows better. How many more times must he repeat himself about her drug use and lying? So he barges in and talks about how one of his guns is missing. Did Chloe take it? If she didn't take it, by the way, then he would be concerned because a random person broke into their house and stole a handgun. So I need to know if you have it. Please be honest. If angered enough, he does slap her, but even he is shocked at that behavior. He has clearly never hit Chloe before. Some people have theorized that because of how easy it was, that he has hit Chloe multiple times before and there has been some form of abuse. But literally from the fact that Chloe bravely marches up to him with no fear of being hit, and how shocked he is after, and how he even has to convince seemingly himself that he deserved that because she just keeps pushing him, shows that he has never hit her before. So I am not sure where they're getting this idea of abuse from, but I personally don't agree. I feel that Chloe takes it because she wants to keep up that badass persona that she has and this badass ego and alternate personality that she has created after so many years of being broken, essentially, and refusing to heal. That, in my opinion, is the only reason why she may seem used to it. But even though she is clearly upset from being hit for once, which is why she immediately lashes out at Max, in my opinion, she isn't saying that David would have hit them both or hit her more if Max was there instead of hiding. She's saying that David would have freaked out at Max, which he does. If you literally just play the alternate options, you would see that he does freak out at Max and threatens to have her scholarship taken away or threatens to at least get her in trouble. Literally, that voice line is just there to make Max feel bad, so then she considers, well, maybe I can use my rewind powers to try to stand up for Chloe instead. I feel like that voice line was just there to be like, well, I'm gonna make you feel guilty. Maybe we can learn how to rewind, and maybe you can learn that you can rewind certain situations. You can rewind this entirely. You can choose a different option. The next time Chloe and David interact is when David is confronted about the cameras in the house. You can either side with David or side with Chloe. If you side with Chloe, then Joyce reprimands him and demands he leaves the house, pack his bags, and book a hotel room because for now, he's no longer welcome in the house. If you side with this, then after David saves Max, he tells her that he had time to think about his actions and he was severely sorry. He asked Joyce if they could get couples counseling and even family counseling in order to fix things, to make things right. He needs it, and he is admitting that. If you side with David, then it ends the heated argument within the house, with Chloe being upset that her plan to rile things up and have everyone at each other's throats being restored. She is of course upset, but Joyce and David are at a standstill. David is happy that someone understands that while his methods aren't good, there is proof that he has done nothing wrong, and all the answers are pointing to someone else being the bad guy in the story, and they're all just trying to figure out who is it and what is going on. And Joyce, she's just happy that they don't have to all blow up and be on edge with each other. We find out that if he sided with David, he tells Max that he can update her on her case for Kate and tells her why he wants surveillance at Blackwell. While he's not properly showcasing that he cares for the students and the people he's sworn to protect, he does actually care about them. In episode 5, thanks to the clues from Max and Chloe's investigation, he's able to save Max. He admits he should have done something about Nathan a long time ago when he suspected him, and that he was way too harsh on Kate. But he is sorry for everything. If Joyce reprimanded David, then she says he feels sorry and wants family counseling in hopes that it will help. Maybe they can work things out. David really doesn't want to give up on them being a family. Again, does this sound like the monster that Chloe stands make him out to be? Oi, future merch here. I've just now seen this footage of Joyce talking about how she doesn't like the fact that David has hit Chloe, and obviously if it happened once, it could happen again. So she's worried about that, and she does end up making the final choice that she just isn't going to be with David. And we do see that in Life is Strange 2, that if you sacrifice Chloe, she does end up divorcing David and they're no longer together, although I do think they have a semi-decent relationship still. Because I think it's hinted at that both Max and Joyce still come to visit David every so often, or at least Max does. So it does show that all three of them do still have at least a good sounding, relationship. It's not completely torn apart and broken. But I kind of love this scene for, I would say, 2 big reasons. One, because it does finally show that at least from what Joyce knows, Chloe has never been hit before. She's never been hit. She's never been abused before. And if I remember properly, and if so, I'll add it in as like a little scene, I think Chloe does openly bring it up. How about the time you hit me, when she's listing off all the things to David, especially if Max tries to side with Chloe, I think is where that'll pop up. So that means that Chloe is not afraid to not bring that up. Clearly Joyce would have known if there was abuse beforehand. So because Chloe's never mentioned it, there has never been abuse before. So I think, and I just really love that because it finally proves there's never been abuse. And then second of all, because it shows that Joyce is willing to make that hard choice, even though she just mentioned how before she felt like she was going to give up, and who knows what giving up meant to her, whether that meant, unaliving or anything like that, or just giving up in love in general. And then David sparked something in her again, just like I'm talking about in this whole video, that he really means a lot to her and she means a lot to him. Even though all of that is there, she still want to make this choice to protect her daughter because she loves her more, and so she is willing to possibly, and it does end up divorcing David over this. I'm not an abuse apologist, but at the same time, David has promised something, and at all times that we have seen, he has always been able to prove that he is willing to change and that he isn't really the instigator and he really isn't the bad guy that Chloe stands and that Chloe makes him out to seem, that he is willing to do better. So I don't know. I personally feel that he would be doing better and that he would change, and that good to take him for his word that he wants to do better for her. I mean, even the way he reacts if you tell him that Jefferson killed Chloe proves that he truly, truly cared about her, and he really, really, really realized he fucked up and that he wants to obviously change, do better for her, blah, blah. Entirely up to you. I'm not going to really put my input on that just because I already know most, if not all, Chloe stans aren't even going to get to this point in the video anyway. But if you guys would like to know how I feel about it, maybe just ask about it down below, or maybe I'll put it down below. It really depends. I could care less. I'm really just trying to get this video out as quick as possible because I'm kind of getting tired of editing this video, I won't lie. Tell me, what do you think? Do you think Joyce and David are shitty parents to Chloe? If so, why? If you don't think they're shitty parents, then expand upon that in the comments if you wish. But that about wraps it up for today's video. If you liked, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you never miss out on another video. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for watching.